Baptiste-Arré, doyen du Sacré Collège. Alors, qui nous écoute et qui nous suivait, bienvenue à vous tous qui nous rejoignez via les radios chrétiennes. Les fidèles sont déjà réunis, évidemment aussi de nombreux journalistes, réunis devant des écrans géants pour suivre avec nous dans quelques instants l'entrée en conclave.
Évidemment, c'est cela sur la place Saint-Pierre. L'ambiance est à l'attente, la grande attente des fidèles qui sont réunis pour suivre cet événement. Il y a beaucoup de journalistes et aussi à travers le monde, beaucoup suivent. Nous savons que certains nous suivent à travers Facebook, à travers YouTube et aussi à travers notre site internet www.vaticannews.va. En tout cas, nous vous accompagnerons durant ce moment solennel.
Em conclave do juramento e daí os passos que se seguem para a eleição do novo pontífice que vai suceder na Cátedra de Pedro ao Papa Francisco.
Jesus Christ, and a very warm welcome to all of you joining us for this live broadcast of the liturgical ceremony for the entrance into the Sistine Chapel of the Cardinal Electors, which will mark the beginning of the conclave that will elect a new successor of St. Peter.
On behalf of the entire Vatican News team, we would like to welcome all of you from wherever you are joining us from around the world. A special welcome to all of those following along through our TV partners, EWTN TV, Catholic Faith Network in America, Shalom World Television Network USA, Admadarshan TV, Catholic TV, Madad TV India, and UCTV, Uganda Catholic Television. And also a special welcome to all of our radio partners, Luminous Radio and Radio Katipunan in the Philippines. Very special welcome.
My name is Christopher Wells, and we will be providing the English language commentary and translation for this special liturgical service at the start of the conclave. The process of electing a new pope is a centuries-old process that is absolutely steeped in tradition. The actual ceremony has been in use for several hundred years, and as we go to air, we will be translating the various parts of the ceremony and explaining for you what's going on. As Kelsey mentioned, we are broadcasting also on radio, so we will be giving a description of what some of you will be seeing on your television or computer screens.
And once the procession begins, the cardinals, the 133 cardinal electors, will process into the Sistine Chapel to, again, begin the conclave. And once inside, each cardinal will stand and place his hand on the gospel, and he will recite the oath of secrecy that binds him during and after the conclave. And each one will declare in this oath, "So help me God and these holy gospels which I touch with my hand."
And this whole ceremony, as you know, takes place in the Sistine Chapel this evening. What we'll be seeing is we will take you live to the Sistine Chapel, and you can see now on your screens the room just outside the Sistine Chapel, which is where the procession will begin. And the order for the procession will begin with the Masters of Ceremonies, with the cross-bearer and candle-bearers, a number of functionaries who will take part in what we might call the opening ceremony for the conclave, followed by the cardinal electors. And when the cardinal electors go in, there's a very strict hierarchy even amongst the cardinals. So the College of Cardinals is composed of 3 different orders, all cardinals, with one exception, all bishops. But within the College of Cardinals, there are cardinal bishops, cardinal priests, and cardinal deacons, as well as amongst the cardinal electors, one cardinal patriarch of Oriental Rite. That's Luis Rafael Sacco. And when they enter, they will enter in reverse hierarchical order. So the most recent cardinal deacon will be the first amongst the cardinal electors in the procession. He'll be followed in order by the other cardinal deacons. Then they will go to the order of cardinal presbyters. The most recently created cardinal presbyter will be first in line, followed again in order by the other cardinal presbyters according to the date on which they were created. And finally, the cardinal patriarch, Luis Rafael Sacco. And finally, the four cardinal bishops who are eligible to take part in the conclave. Those are Pietro Parolin, Fernando Filoni, Luis Antonio Tagle, and Robert Francis Prevost. So that will be the order of entry for the cardinals.
And I think, Chris, you touched on it a bit by talking about the fact that there is a cardinal patriarch of the Oriental Rite, that this conclave is one of the most diverse in history, with electors hailing from about 70 countries, which shows a great effort through the years to broaden the representation in the church. And I think it'll be really interesting to see, as we see the procession enter in, the cardinals from all over the world.
And in fact, from in the earliest days of the church, there were different means of electing popes, including election by the clergy of the Church of Rome. Once the conclaves took their kind of modern form, the vast majority of papal elections were decided by cardinals from Europe, including primarily cardinals from Italy, but also cardinals from England, France, Spain, the Netherlands. We've had a Dutch pope, we've had an English pope. And especially in the past 150 years is the first time in the modern church that we've seen cardinals representing countries from all the different continents, from all over the world. The process this evening, after the procession into the Sistine Chapel, the cardinals will find their places. Each one has an assigned place, again, based on the order of their creation and the order within which they are cardinals. And at the conclusion of the ceremony, we'll describe that for you as we go on. At the conclusion of the ceremony, the doors of the Sistine Chapel are formally closed. The Master of Pontifical Liturgical Ceremonies makes the proclamation extra omnes in Latin, which literally translates as everyone out. And everyone except for the cardinal electors at that moment will leave the Sistine Chapel, and it is foreseen that the cardinals will then proceed to first any necessary business that needs to be discussed and resolved, and then they'll proceed immediately to an election. Immediately after the extra omnes proclamation, Cardinal Raniero Cantalamessa, the former preacher of the papal household, will deliver a meditation, inviting the cardinals into a space of prayer and discernment before the deliberations begin.
Well, and as you mentioned, Chris, since they're taking, as we talked about, the oath of secrecy that the cardinals are taking today, specifically regarding the conclave, what happens now and in the future, it's not just them that also take an act or an oath of secrecy. It extends, that it happened earlier this week actually, that all personnel that are involved in this aspect of the conclave take an oath of secrecy to remain absolutely secret to not spill anything that happens during this time, and that includes the medical staff, if there's need for them, liturgical assistants. Even the Swiss Guards would have to take an oath of secrecy to make sure that it remains absolute in this form of electing a new pope, which would be the 200.
And in fact, as you say, that also extends even to the housekeepers, the people who are preparing the meals for the cardinals, that over the period from last night and through today have taken up residence in the Casa Santa Marta, the former residence of Pope Francis, which is also a residence for numerous prelates and priests and others who are involved with the Vatican City State, prepares those rooms for the cardinals who will be taking part in the election. This time, as Kelsey might be able to tell us about here in a moment, than ever before in a conclave. So not only is the residence of Casa Santa Marta taken up, but also a number of rooms in the former Casa Santa Marta, the old Santa Marta, to ensure that there's space for all of the cardinals. Each of them has a very modest room with a bed, a table, a chair, and not much else, a crucifix. And as one of the cardinals said, it really is, once you get into the conclave, a very prayerful, meditative atmosphere. There's not room for major speeches. They go in, they do